The reading today is Matthew 15, verses 21 through 28. And Jesus went away from there and withdrew to the district of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a Canaanite woman from that region came out and cried, "Have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David. My daughter is severely possessed by a demon." But he did not answer her a word. And his disciples came and begged him, saying, "Send her away, for she is crying after us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But she came and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, help me." And he answered, "It is not fair to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." She said, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." Then Jesus answered her, "O woman, great is your faith. Be it done for you as you desire." And her daughter was healed instantly. May God bless the reading of His Word. Please be seated. As a semester winds down to close, I've noticed something interesting over the last many years. And that is students and professors growing weary. With the length of the semester and the difficulties of the tasks and the trials of balancing school and family, our jobs, our homework, whatever our position might be. I've had more than one student over the years ask me, "Should I drop out? The work is hard. I am not as good at this as so-and-so, fill in the blank." But it's really not the ones who cry for help that are of concern to me, but the ones who don't. Those who drop along the way, those who drop out of school and you never know why, who don't give you any kind of warning signs, the families that break up without any prior sign that there were problems, the elders that quit and leave and one doesn't necessarily know why, or preachers who stop, and on and on. Those who give up for reasons unknown because of the failure to cry for help. Well, life is this way. Several years ago, quite a few now, I took on the project of renovating my patio of my house into a bedroom for my mother-in-law. It's supposed to be a 2 or 3 weekend job. Turned into 2 or 3 years. I tried with, actually it sounds like a bad joke. It is a bad joke. I tried with a theologian, an architect, and an engineer, none of whom had ever built anything before. It was all theoretical. And we didn't really know what we were. To this day, you can't hang a painting on the wall because it's an inch and a half off plumb. So the painting hangs down from the wall, which is like that. Learned a lot about our houses that we live in and whether or not they're actually plumb. Answer, they're not. When it got time to putting the sheetrock on the ceiling in the little patio room, 200 square feet, I tried to do it myself. And then I got an Austin grad alum, I don't recall exactly who it was at this point, I've suppressed the memory, to put the sheetrock up on the ceiling, and you're doing it upside down and you're trying to make them straight, etc. We put several squares of sheetrock on the ceiling, and as we progress, we realize this whole thing is going to land on somebody's head, probably my mother-in-law. So I stopped work for several weeks. I didn't know what to do, wrung my hands, and only at that point was the cry for help articulated. I brought in a carpenter friend such as had actually done carpentry and actually knew this stuff to survey the damage, clucked his tongue at us, and redid the entire ceiling. Whether it's schoolwork or patios or any other endeavor in life, it is those who do not cry for help, who try to put a roof over themselves and their family on their own, who are most at risk. That is a trivial example. One that wasn't so trivial and could have ended poorly for me was many years ago when I was studying for my comps, for my dissertation, or for my PhD. I was very nervous over the New Testament theology exam, for which I had crammed the night before. I read something like 20 books the night before. It can be done. It can be done. The knowledge is retained for about 4 or 5 hours. And instead of crying for help in terms of what have others done to prepare for this, how have they confronted this, what are the questions I should be asking, I did not. And on the way to take it, I ran into a good friend of mine who is now a senior scholar in another country. And he was shaking his head as he left the task, and he said, "Oh no, it's horrible. I don't know if I passed." And he's probably the most brilliant person I've ever met. And so instead of asking for more information, for help, what do you mean? I went, "Oh no, I'm doomed." I went in and I sat and I stared at the form for 2 hours, thereby jeopardizing my grade, because I didn't open the envelope. I didn't read the instructions. Once I did, I realized I can do this, and I hadn't left myself enough time. And so then what was going to be pro forma became a problem. Those who don't cry out for help, those who don't seek help, surely will not find it. In the Bible, the cry for help, far being a cry of defeat and despair, is what faith is. Matthew 15:21 through 28, a very unusual account of Jesus' encounter with the Canaanite woman as he sojourned on the outskirts of Israelite territory. The text records that she cried out to the Lord in the pious words of the Psalms, "Have mercy on me, Chaneni, Yahweh, Son of David. My daughter is severely demon-possessed." The disciples wished Jesus to send her away because she was crying out after them. After Jesus tried to put her request off because it was not part of his mission that he'd been very explicit with to his disciples in Matthew 10, she cried again, "Lord, help me." Finally, Jesus compares her request to dogs receiving children's bread. And she replied, "Yes, Lord, but even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the table. I'm only asking for the spillover, for the crumbs that fall." 3 times she pleads with Jesus, and the text says she kept crying out after them. Finally, after the last interchange about the dogs and the crumbs, Jesus responds with, "O woman, great is your faith. Let it be done for you as you have believed." Unlike Mark chapter 7, the parallel account, which suggests that Jesus healed her daughter because of the woman's clever response, in Matthew's account, she's healed because of her persistent cry. I think that this is what it means to have faith in the Gospel of Matthew. To pray to the Lord and not to give up. Psalm 145, 17 through 19, I think says it most succinctly. It's the commitment of the Lord in Scripture to hear all who cry out to Him. The Lord is righteous in all His ways and kind in all His works. The Lord is near to all who call on Him, to all who call on Him in truth. He fulfills the desire of those who fear Him. He also hears their cry and saves them. Part of what I think it means to call upon Him in truth is to pray and not lose heart, in the words of Luke 18. It is to pray and not give up. It is to be persistent in seeking the Lord. The Canaanite woman is praised by Jesus, one of two in the Gospel of Matthew, for having great faith, both Gentiles. The reason for that praise is her persistence in crying out, for continually knocking, for praying without ceasing. For us too, I think faith is in not giving up and directing our prayer for help to God. It's easy to pay too much attention to the difficulty of the assignment, the overbearing boss, not that we have one here, the family illness, the unending patio project, the difficulty in maintaining a theological institution in the current social climate, or whatever the difficulty might be. It's easy to give up when we're tired and our nose has been bloodied by life. It is exactly in these times that we must persist and keep knocking and keep praying. For God hears and responds to all who cry out to Him. Scripture teaches us that great faith involves prayer, but a particular kind of prayer. Prayer which continues and persists even when the situation is difficult and it seems as if God is not listening. So as we prepare as students for finals, as we prepare to go out into a world which is ambiguous or antagonistic towards us, where we are called to faithful service, let us do the work that God has given us. Let us be persistent in prayer and not give up. Let us make our requests known to God. Cry out to Him, for He is near and responds to all who call upon Him. Thank you.